Do you know what's trending on Chinese social media right now? A wave of ex-nightclub girls, ex-models, ex-actresses, women who spent years in the entertainment industry, are now posting angry videos saying, "Men don't want to date us anymore." They say they've changed their lives, that they're now ready for a serious relationship. But then they're shocked when guys just don't want them. And I'm thinking, did they really believe they could just walk away from that lifestyle, and their past would be erased? Let me tell you why men are avoiding these types of relationships, and trust me, the reason is very simple. Remember that video? It shows a mommy bringing a group of beautiful women into a private KTV room, then waiting outside while the main guy inside is sitting with girls on both sides. And his subordinates are sitting there looking completely dead inside. You could just look at the guy's face and know what's going on. And it made me think. There are thousands of toxic friends out there, and half of them are inside that room. If you want to succeed in business today, you can't avoid KTV, drinking, clients pulling your hair while you're sweating in a suit. And the next day you still have to like the post of that girl who flirted with you just for tips. Now tell me, what kind of man wants to go home and keep living in that environment, even after work? These women, used to a life of luxury, they've seen too much. Surrounded by heirs, rich businessmen, people who spend money like it's water, driving Porsches and going home in BMWs. Do you really think they can just go back to a simple life? And worse. At first it feels great. She chose you out of all the others. You feel like you won a prize. Like you stole her attention from all the rich guys. But that only feeds your ego, and only for a little while. Soon comes the anxiety. You don't know how many guys she's held hands with. How many WeChat contacts she added in just one night. How many gifts, how much intimacy was exchanged. And here's the worst part. Even if she tries to be loyal to you, that usually lasts 6 months at best. After that, the spark's gone. She'll slowly distance herself, lose interest. And you'll realize you're lonelier than when you were single. Then comes the breakdown. The guy loses weight, money, and self-esteem. And many still lie to themselves, saying, "Oh, she's just working odd hours, she's like any other girl." She's not. If you think like that, sorry, but your worldview is already twisted. So for those women now complaining online saying, "Men don't want to be with me," here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Men don't want to because they don't need to carry a burden that isn't theirs. And for you, bro, if you've already fallen into that trap and don't know what to do, go watch my first video or come talk to me. But don't kid yourself. Dating a nightclub girl is like digging your own grave, with both hands and a smile on your face.
I didn't understand why I couldn't connect with anyone after I left the club. For a long time, I kept asking myself, why does it feel like I can't truly love someone? I left the nightlife behind, changed my life, tried to move on, but something was always holding me back. It was like something inside me had been shut off, or worse, replaced with something else. I tried, I swear I did. But it felt like my heart had become a locked room with the key thrown away. Only after a conversation with an old friend, someone who knew me before I ever stepped into that world, did I start to understand what had happened to me. He said to me, without sugarcoating, "You spent too much time in a place where everything revolved around money. Where the value of a word, a smile, even a touch, had a price." And it was like a light switched on inside me. But not a beautiful, cinematic kind of light. It was raw, almost cruel, exposing what I didn't want to see. The truth is, back then, the environment shaped how I saw the world. The club was a place where everything sparkled, lights, laughter, expensive champagne, but underneath, it was also dark. People lived off appearances. I learned how to smile without meaning it, laugh without joy, call someone baby or love when I didn't even know their name. Because that's what made money. And money was everything. It wasn't just survival, it was power. It was status. It was the feeling that, for a few hours, you were the one running the game. In there, genuine emotions became a luxury no one could afford. I'd look at men and see nothing but the size of their bank account. And they'd look at me and see what they wanted to buy for the night. It was easy, fast, and increasingly empty. An emptiness I masked with high heels, flawless makeup, and a laugh that echoed across the room. But at the end of the night, when the lights went out and the silence crept in, I felt the weight. I just didn't admit it. You get used to it. You think you won't, but you do. You get used to the expensive dinners, the gifts, the likes on the photos you post. And most of all, to the idea that your body can be currency. That your beauty is a tool. That your time has a price per hour. And when you realize it, you can no longer tell what's real and what's a performance. You become the product they consume, and worse, you start consuming yourself. But no one prepares you for the day you try to be normal again. No one warns you that, once you're out, the outside world feels strange, almost hostile. After I left, I tried working in an office. I tried dating. I tried being serious. But everything felt slow, uninteresting, almost ridiculous. A guy would take me for coffee and I'd think, really? That's it? Another would try to have a deep conversation, full of ideas, and all I could do was calculate his income, whether he was worth my time. It was automatic. A coldness I didn't even know I'd learned. The truth is, my sense of value was completely distorted. Things that should have touched me, a kind gesture, a bit of affection, someone making an effort, now felt small. Insignificant. Because in the club, with the right smile and a nice dress, you could make more in one night than some people made in a month. And that corrupts you, even if you swear it doesn't. It corrupts because it teaches you to measure people in numbers, bills, tips. And when you try to go back, you realize you forgot how to feel without calculating. The worst part is, on the outside, I pretended everything was fine. I smiled in photos, posted motivational quotes, said I was living my best life. But inside, I was scared. Scared that I might never truly love again. Scared that I'd never be loved without having to give something in return. Scared I'd never trust again, not others, not even myself. I kept wondering, is this who I've become? Is there anything left of who I used to be? My friend looked me in the eye and said, you need to relearn. Not just how to love, but how to let yourself be loved. Without selling. Without proving anything. Just be. That day, I cried. Cried like I hadn't in years. Because I finally understood that the girl who walked into that club wasn't the same woman who walked out. The club gave me things, money, independence, a certain thrill, but it took away so much more. It took my lightness. It took my ability to look someone in the eyes without suspicion. It took pieces of me I didn't even know I could lose. And in a way, I had to lose all that to start finding myself again. I'm not here to judge anyone. Everyone has their reasons, their pain, their choices. Some enter that world out of necessity, others out of curiosity, and some stay because they like it. And that's okay. But I want to say to anyone who's left that life and feels this emptiness, it's not madness. It's not drama. It's real. It's the price we pay for living in a world where everything is a transaction. And yes, you can rebuild. But it's not easy. It takes time. It takes effort. And above all, it takes courage to look in the mirror and say, I deserve love, even if I don't give anything in return. If you've made it this far, maybe you're going through something similar. Maybe you're trying to find yourself again after a time when you felt lost. And I just want to tell you one thing, you're not alone. No matter how broken you think you are, there are still enough pieces left to rebuild yourself. And yes, you can start over. It won't be like before, it never is. But it can be different. It can be real. And that alone is more than the nightlife ever gave me.
妈呀，嘴巴好龅牙。
Oh my god. Look at my mouth, it looks crooked and my teeth are sticking out. I tried to do a cute pout and it looked awful. Tonight is just a terrible winter night. I went all out with my makeup, I looked beautiful, got ready with so much care, and still none of the videos turned out the way I wanted. And to make things worse, I went out to meet someone and got stood up. Who told me to trust people? But you know what really pissed me off today? It wasn't even the video that failed. It wasn't being stood up. The worst part is that I got rejected. Rejected. Now you're probably thinking, who's the idiot that rejected you, Sierra? Who would dare? A guy. Yeah, a guy I met who seemed nice, invited me out. And after talking, he looked me in the eye and said, word for word, Sorry, but I'm looking for someone with a degree. Someone with more intellectual substance. And in that moment, I froze. I played it cool. Faked a smile. But inside, I was fuming. Angry at him. Angry at myself. Angry at the industry I've been stuck in for years. You might be thinking, but Sierra, you're famous, you have fans, an audience, you're beautiful, charismatic. Exactly. That's why I expected more respect. But it feels like the more visible we are in this industry, the less we matter as real women. And here's the thing, that rejection didn't stop there. He kept going. He said something else. Something that hit harder than anything anyone has ever said to me before. I understand that you're stunning, he started, his voice calm, almost casual, as if he were delivering some kind of verdict instead of speaking to another human being. And clearly, you don't need money or gifts, you're financially independent. But your audience? 90% men? Yeah, that's where I draw the line. I stared at him, stunned. My heart sank into my stomach, but I didn't let it show on my face. Not yet. Let me break it down for you, he continued, leaning back in his chair like he was lecturing me now. You're used to getting attention from guys who see you as this untouchable idol. They worship you online, send you gifts, comments, likes, but they don't actually know you. And when reality hits and you realize not every man will bow at your feet, you'll struggle. Because validation from strangers means nothing. Nothing. He paused, letting his words sink in. Then came the final blow. And honestly, I can't deal with the headache of dating someone like you. Your fans, they're obsessive. What happens when one of them finds out we're together? Do you think they'll just leave me alone? No. They'll harass me. Threaten me. Make my life hell because they feel entitled to you. And frankly, I don't need that drama. You're gorgeous, sure, but I'm not signing up for chaos. In that moment, I felt small. Smaller than I ever had in my entire life. Here I was, someone who had built herself from scratch, clawing her way through an unforgiving world, creating success out of sheer willpower, and this stranger reduced me to nothing. To a stereotype. A caricature of what people assume women in my position are, shallow, vain, unworthy of genuine connection. He acted like I was nothing more than a product of this industry. Like my worth could be measured by the size of my following or the number of men who sent me virtual roses during live streams. But what hurt the most wasn't what he said about me. It was how right and how wrong he was. Yes, my audience is 90% male. Yes, I've grown accustomed to compliments and admiration from strangers. But does that mean I'm incapable of forming real relationships? Does that mean I deserve to be dismissed so easily? No. Absolutely not. Yet, deep down, I couldn't help but wonder, is he onto something? Have I become too wrapped up in this world of fleeting validation to remember what truly matters? Today, I sat in front of the mirror for hours after that encounter, staring at myself, trying to figure out who I am outside of this persona I've created. Outside of the camera lens, the filters, the perfectly curated content. Am I still Sierra, the girl who left her small-town home with dreams bigger than she could comprehend? Or am I just a reflection of what others want me to be? Because here's the truth. While I was chasing fame, building an empire based on beauty and charisma, other women were choosing different paths. Paths that led to stability, love, fulfillment. Paths that allowed them to grow without sacrificing their sense of self. And me? I'm here. With smudged makeup, a bruised heart, and a head full of doubts. I don't regret the choices I've made. How could I? This career gave me freedom, independence, opportunities one never thought possible. But tonight, sitting alone in the dark, I can't help but ask myself, at what cost? Did I trade my authenticity for applause? Did I sacrifice intimacy for exposure? Did I lose myself somewhere along the way, chasing approval from people who barely know me? What scares me most isn't rejection. It's loneliness. The idea of waking up one day with money, with beauty, but completely alone. Alone because I gave so much of myself to this industry that I forgot to build something truly mine. Something real. So maybe, just maybe, it's time to rethink everything.
Car show models, flight attendants, women who work in nightclubs. I wouldn't date them even if my life depended on it, no matter how pretty they are. The guy who said this? He's actually the kind of man many women would love in the dating market. He's 1.77 m tall, born in 1992, a local from Chongqing. His family runs their own business, and he earns a stable annual income of around 300,000 yuan. And he said this, "A woman's looks are important, sure, but if I'm looking for a wife, there's no way I'd go for someone who works in clubs, car shows, or as a flight attendant." At first, I thought, isn't that just plain job discrimination? But after hearing his full reasoning, I kind of get where he's coming from. He said that women in those environments are constantly surrounded by rich second-generation guys. They spend money like water, driving Porsches used to fast cash. Coming back to a normal life and mindset after that? Nearly impossible. I started to think, okay, but you can't judge a whole group of people like that. But then he said something that really made sense to me. I'm just an average guy. Why should I carry that kind of burden? In jobs like that, you never know how many guys she's held hands with, or how many intimate moments she's had. You have no idea how many new guys she adds on social media each day. Conversations with coworkers are all like, so-and-so went home with that guy last night. We went partying at this club yesterday. So I asked myself, wait, how does this guy even know all that? Then he told me back when he was younger and immature, he only cared about looks. He got into a bad relationship. After they broke up, friends started telling him stories, and he realized he'd been cheated on multiple times without even knowing. Then he said, "Man, I'm just a regular person. My parents spent most of their life savings to help me buy a house. And I'm supposed to use all that to marry a woman like that? Dude, tell me, what would I even gain from that? With my background, wouldn't it be way better to find a decent, down-to-earth girl?"
A younger coworker recently started dating a girl, but outsiders don't see it with good eyes because she used to work in nightclubs. A lot of people say that once a woman has worked in that environment, her values will be distorted for life. But is that really true? Other male colleagues at work, acting responsibly, warn the guy, never choose a woman like that to date. If it's just for fun, fine. But if you're thinking about marriage, it's best to give up on that idea as soon as possible. Don't fall for the typical lines women from nightclubs say. "I had no choice. My family was poor. My parents were sick. I just wanted to help my younger siblings go to school." Is it really always because of that? The truth is, many women who work in that environment are completely empty inside. Their inner world is extremely shallow, and their moral compass is almost non-existent. They lie as naturally as they drink water. What drives them are primitive desires: money, attractive men, material things. Most don't even realize it. In fact, they believe they're independent, strong, opinionated women. On one hand, they hide their job from family and friends. On the other, they look down on people who live normal lives and work regular jobs. The more experienced coworkers clearly told the guy, break up with her while there's still time. Don't believe in that story about the lotus flower that grows in the mud but remains pure. Remember, no lotus flower comes out of a sewer. These women use every trick in the book to please customers, but when it comes to their boyfriend, they pretend to be naive and clueless. They have distorted values. In their minds, if a man talks or goes out with them without paying, he's just getting free service. And the worst part, after spending a few years in that lifestyle, it becomes nearly impossible for them to return to normal life. And of course, this doesn't just apply to nightclub girls, it goes for most people working in today's entertainment industry. Both men and women, whether they're actresses, models, club dancers, or girls selling photos and videos online, are often programmed to lie, manipulate, and are addicted to lust. In short, getting into a relationship with someone like that is asking for headaches. You'll always be wondering when they'll trade you for someone better, right? In my opinion, the coworkers were right. Even if the guy decides to ignore her past and stay with her, once it's time to get married and his parents find out about her history, it's going to be a huge problem that he won't be able to fix. I also don't believe in the idea that no job is better or worse than another. The truth is, there are some kinds of work people simply shouldn't do, not even out of desperation. Because some money, the moment you earn it, already makes you dirty. What do you think about this? Leave your comment and share your opinion with everyone. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you in the next one.